I'll tell you what, I could do really much better without the pollen in the air.
Mm-hmm. Or 59 yet. Donna, are you ready?
It's slow, but you can go ahead and start. I'll catch it.
We'll go ahead and call the Ellis County, Kansas Public Building Commission meeting to order. Donna, please note that all three board members are present. Any changes to the agenda this evening, ladies?
Nope.
Approval of prior minutes, June the 4th.
They were okay, I think.
Stand approved as presented. I don't think we had any accounts payable.
No.
No. Project manager report.
And I also do not have a project manager report this evening.
How about an executive session? We will adjourn at 5:01.
That was a big meeting right there.
Ready? We'll go ahead and call the Ellis County Commission meeting to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Donna, please note that all three commissioners are present this evening. Any change in the order of business this evening? I understand there'll be one executive session, correct, Phil? Okay. Prior minutes, June 4th. Fine. Phil had some changes noted in there. Stand approved as presented, Donna. Ask for a motion for the consent agenda, items A through G.
I move we approve the consent agenda as presented, items A through G.
I will second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. No further discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. First, I want to welcome all of you here this evening. What a nice crowd. You should come more Mondays. We meet the first 3 Mondays of every month. So in your spare time, please come. We like to see the house full instead of 2 to 3 people out there. So this is nice. Issues from persons not on the order of business this evening.
Nobody's charging up.
Seeing none,
All on there.
we'll move to the monthly financial report.
No questions from me.
No questions from me on that either.
Okay. And I'm guessing this is why the rest of you came this evening the next time, but I'm not sure. We'll move on to the budget request from outside agencies. I know my commissioners also looked at their enclosures, but we will start with High Plains Mental Health Center.
Good evening. I'm Walt Hill. I'm the Executive Director at High Plains Mental Health Center. We're based here in Hayes and provide services across 20 counties in northwest Kansas. I have with me Roy Husted, who is an at-large board member for High Plains, Joanne Wilhelm and Chris Dinkel, and Tom's not here, but he said to go ahead without him. It was okay.
I think we'll survive.
Yes. High Plains funding request for 2019 is $281,646. High Plains has for a number of years determined benchmarks for county funding based on an allocation model that uses 6 factors. The population of the county, valuation of the county, the number of patients served in the prior year, salaries to county residents, a general stake in the organization, and then a factor that's based on whether the main office is in that county or whether we have one of our 5 branch offices in that county. So we take the total county funding that we're budgeting, which has for a number of years been steady. We're not looking at overall an aggregate increase in county funding across the 20 counties. From year to year, it will vary for each individual county because of those 6 factors vary: population, valuation, number of patients served. This was a model that was developed to help counties get a sense of a touchstone of county funding benchmark, since it's not established in statute or anywhere else. It's not established in our interlocal agreement or our bylaws. And this was a way to address concerns raised over years by some counties about, well, why should we fund at this amount? That other county isn't funding their fair share. They use that terminology. And so we developed this in concert with county commissioners and our board in terms of that methodology, and I have sent that out your way. In terms of some of those factors, last week you asked the question, Dean, about the number of employees who are Ellis County residents. We have 95 Ellis County residents who work for High Plains, and the payroll for those individuals is $3.6 million in 2017. We delivered $3.4 million in services to 1,870 Ellis County residents last year. So those are some of the figures that go into this calculation of this sheet. We're very sensitive to the position that all of our counties are in, with changes in valuation that have fluctuated. Across the 20 counties, that varies based on a variety of factors that happen, whether it's oil valuation, whether it's a pipeline coming off of the tax rolls, ag valuation. So that is the reason we have held overall county funding steady in our calculations for a number of years, and again into next year. I'll stop at that point. Would be glad to address any questions or concerns or comments that you might have.
I think you answered all our questions last week.
You did a good job last week for us, so, but thank you for coming.
I'll come back next week if it will help.
You're always welcome, along with everyone else in the room.
See you on Thursday.
All right.
Thank you very much. We
Thank you.
appreciate your support. And the support of Ellis County as the home county. That means a lot to the other counties. They look to you on good days and bad days with as the leader. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. We'll move on to Developmental Services of Northwest Kansas. Jerry and group, probably?
And the last shall be first.
Yeah, that's what happens when you sit in the back.
He usually sits in the front of church, so I don't know. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Hi.
Well, Commissioners, thank you. I'm Jerry Michaud, President, CEO for Developmental Services in Northwest Kansas. I think most of you know that we are a nonprofit 501c3 that has been serving 50 years plus now. And our base here is right in Ellis County. We serve the 18 counties in Northwest Kansas. Appreciate the opportunity to come before you, and what you have, I believe, in your packet is a series of documents which include our request for the county. We've asked that holding the line on support again for this year would be appreciated. I know that the need is greater, but we also recognize the challenges that Ellis County and all the counties are facing, so certainly understand that. So the request is for $240,000 for this next year. A little bit of background here. I believe all know that our primary source of funding is Medicaid. Good news, this last year, we saw a bump in our rates for the first time since 2008. That certainly helped. It doesn't solve the problem because we've had such a long span of no adjustments, so we're playing catch-up. But it's certainly a step in the right direction. In Kansas, folks with intellectual and developmental disabilities, there's about 30, the number kind of tough to get a hold of, about 3,800 people statewide that are waiting for services. That number for Northwest Kansas is about 85 at this point, but that seems to change as people's needs change. For Ellis County, that number is 26 persons on that wait list are from Ellis County. A little bit of our challenge with all of that financing and funding issues are forever our efforts to address wages and address turnover and vacancies. It's a constant challenge. We know unemployment rates for our 18 counties is about 2.6%. I think Ellis County is 2.4%, so it's a little lower. That's wonderful news in some ways. It's not wonderful news when you're looking for staff. Just a few tidbits about that. Our system is part of the cane care system. We could go on for hours about that. I will not. But our system is challenged, and I might draw your attention to some, I guess, supporting evidence of the challenges that we've been facing relevant to the cane care system. Legislative Post Audit put out a report here not too long ago, which was it's a good read, but challenging in terms of assessment of our state system. So I would draw your attention to that. On the federal level, we continue to have to address ever-changing elements. The latest is electronic visit verification, which isn't really supposed to apply to our system, but they're kind of making it apply to our system. Doesn't make sense, but we're going to continue to try to help make some sense out of all that. Okay, that's the background. Let me jump right to the reports. If you would, on the blue sheet, that is our report for Ellis County for 2017, and this identifies the various services and supports that happen to the roughly 162 people that we serve from the county, from our College for Living programs to work services and residential all the way down. You see that the total cost of services provided was about $4.4 million, and the amount of federal support, that's that federal, state, and local match, state match rather, equals about $3.94 million. There's a big gap there, about $463,000. Our approach to the county has always been to address the gap. And so that's what I present to you. Again, appreciative of the level of support that Ellis County has and continues to do. The next sheet I would draw your attention to is the green sheet, which is the economic impact, or the benefit from developmental services for Ellis County. I believe we're number 9 in employers for the county, and that's a good thing. We're glad to be here, and I think our impact of $6.3 million is a positive impact on our community. The yellow sheet is the broader view of economic impact, and that addresses or brings in all 18 counties as a perspective, and that's about $9.3 million. The last document that I wanted to touch on is just it's titled DSNBK's Impact, and it identifies a number of components here, but it gets into the details of numbers of employees, 520 employees, across the board. For Ellis County, we're serving about, well, we already talked about that, 161 individuals. Staff by location, about 342 employees, 226 from the Ellis County are based from Ellis County. So lots of information. I want to allow time for questions that you might have for us, and so I'll let that be.
I think you're doing a very good job, Jerry, and it's a very well report put together for us, too. Keep up the good work in our county and surrounding counties.
Yeah.
Yes,
I wanted to
thank you.
point out one additional thing that just came to mind, my appreciation to the county for consideration of the support of the community service tax credit piece, which is one of those efforts that we're doing to try to generate resources to help our budget and
Excellent.
help address the needs. So
Donna has a signed copy over there by all three commissioners.
wonderful. Well, I thank you publicly for that.
Any further questions, ladies?
No, thank you, Jerry.
Thank you
Thanks,
again,
Jerry.
Jerry.
Thank you.
We'll move on to Hayes Area Children's Center.
I always like to bring somebody with me, and this evening,
There she was
please
gone.
come here. I brought Beth Fisher, and Beth is a very important member of our early intervention team. She is not only a master coach, which means she really understands the process and the rules and regulations at the state level for our program, but she's our family service coordinator for all the families that we serve in early intervention. And I, too, would like to thank you for this opportunity to bring our requests forth. Again, we are asking for the same amount that we received last year, $135,000. I did read Phil's letter and know that money is tight and budgets are tight and understand that. So we kept our request at that same level. And again, Beth actually brought our budget into you last week to Phil, so I think you have that with your papers. The budget is for all the programs at the Hayes Yard Children's Center, but the money that we use from the county commissioners is only for the infant, toddler, special services, or early intervention program. So that has been highlighted in our budget, so you know how that money is being spent. Also, we are, as Jerry was saying, we are a nonprofit organization, as we all are here this evening. We have been here for 50-plus years as well. So we have a well-established reputation in the state of Kansas for providing early intervention. Along with that comes we have highly qualified staff that work with this program. We have to have people that are licensed in their area of expertise. So it has to be a licensed speech-language pathologist, a licensed or a registered nurse, licensed occupational therapist, physical therapist, early childhood special education teacher. I think that I got the whole team there. These people have master's level degrees in order to be licensed, and that comes with some challenges. One is we have to pay them, and it does sometimes require a higher amount of money to be able to recruit good people, good personnel to come and work with our children. And it's also a challenge sometimes out here in western Kansas to find those individuals that have those certifications and to get them here as well. Money is tight, as I said before. We have seen some decreases. This year, we had a $5,500 decrease from the state for the program. I like to take this opportunity to thank United Way as well. They are wonderful supporters, and everybody needs to always consider giving money to United Way. It's a wonderful program we have here in Ellis County. Their money is tight, too, so we had a $4,000 decrease. Medicaid continues to not reimbursed as much as it did in the past. We do try to make up for some of that. We've started billing Blue Cross and Blue Shield. We are getting some money through that revenue, which is wonderful. It still doesn't make up for what we used to get several years ago, but it is certainly helpful. We used to receive money from the Early Childhood Block Grant for the Early Intervention Program, and that money as well has been cut, and that's about $5,000. So we're seeing some decreases, but although we see decreases in the funds, the need for the program continues to grow, not only in Ellis County, but in our state as well. In fact, we serve 5.25% of all the children, infants and toddlers in Ellis County, and that is above the state average, which is 3.1%. And part of the reason that I think we're above this, I really know that we're above the state average, is because we do have a wonderful collaboration in our community. We have a great collaboration with the educational systems, USD 489, with Early Childhood Connections, with the medical field, Hayes Med, the other physician clinics that are in town, the NICU, Neonatal Intensive Care Unit, also with not only at Hayes Med, but at Wesley in Wichita and Children's Mercy in Kansas City. They all know that we're here, and they know where to send the children if there is any kind of a concern that they might have a disability. We are also well known with our child care providers and our families in the community, so they call us when they have concerns with their child's development. In fact, and this is why I really wanted Beth to come, we were chosen for the state of Kansas just recently to be one of 3 pilot sites to do what is called this Help Me Grow program, and it really is kind of exciting, and it's just getting underway. I would like Beth to maybe share just a little bit about that, if you would.
The Help Me Grow program started in Connecticut, and it was initially an impetus to get all kids screened for developmental delays. And then they realized that they needed other community partners. And so there's 4 different cogs in the wheel, and one is family and community outreach, getting families in and having services, in getting the services that they need in different agencies, and also getting their kids screened. And then the second one is health providers outreach, and getting all the health providers that see kids engaged in that. Another one is data and analysis, of course, and then a central access point, which is we're working on getting that developed, but the data and analysis is the availability of a database that would allow us to make referrals and get those referrals completed among agencies that are involved in that whole process. And KDHE, Kansas Department of Health and Environment, has become a partner in that national program, and they are funding the initiative, and we don't get any extra money from that, but we are getting the process started so that we can expand our services and our referral system here.
And what's really kind of exciting about this program is that it's helping us catch up with the times in technology, so that when referrals are being made to us, that can be made electronically, and we can go right into the system and let those referring agencies, let's say it's Hayes Med that made a referral, we can let them know, yes, we actually did receive that referral, and we know that that child is out there, and then we can communicate back through them to let them know where we are in that referral process. The child is being evaluated, or the child is in services, or we can't locate the child, which sometimes happens. Sometimes those families move, or they maybe lost their phone service. So then the medical field can help us locate those families so that we can get them in, get them evaluated, and help them get the services they need. So it's really, I'm real excited about it. And it will be something that will make us more efficient, even as a whole community. And in closing, I just wanted to say that, I feel very blessed that our county support so many nonprofits because it does really make a difference. And it is very, very important to us. It really helps us and helps our program be effective and be able to go out and work with those children at a young age so that we can make that impact. You know, our greatest impact is to get in there early and to work with those families and to work with those children so that we make a difference in their lives and it's long lasting. So, any questions that you would have for
How many
us?
children do you serve?
Pardon me?
Just how many children do you serve? You said there was 5%.
Okay, fine. Well, last year we served about 200 and maybe around two. I wrote that grant several months ago, but I think it was around 225 children. And that includes the children that we screen. We have monthly screenings that we provide. That actually is from birth through school age. And then that's where we receive some of our referrals as well when parents come in through that. So over a year span, it's around 225. It's been up to 250 children a year. So, and some of the children then, of course, would need services
Yes,
after that.
that's quite a group.
So, yeah. So, any other questions? Okay.
No, you do great work.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Ellis County Council on Aging.
I don't believe that
I
any
don't
of
see
the
Orrin here.
yeah the chair of the council was unable to be here this evening. They have recommended they distribute a total of $132,048 in the current year. They recommended for next year an increase of $2,412 for the Northwest Kansas Area Agency on Aging and a whopping $15 increase for the Victoria Meal Site and all others at the same level of funding. And their increase on Northwest Kansas Area Agency on Aging was based on the Area Agency on Aging's ability to then leverage those funds with matching grants.
I think Roy has some.
My name's Roy Husted. I was a member of that council. I was not the chairman. And when we listened to these people, they all had very strong arguments for an increase. And we told them that increases were not going to be probable. And they said that we will do the best we can with what we've got. And we applauded them for that. The ones we did ask for an increase on is $14,500 for the Northwest Kansas Agency on Aging. These people provide several services, and one of the things that the increase is for is they get matching funds from the federal government. So if you give them $1, they get about $2.50 from the government. So that's a pretty good investment, at least my banker said it was. They wanted to help improve the utilization of the Victoria Senior Meal Plan. Historically, Victoria has been an underserved area. It's usually determined or has been decided that is because of the people are very proud, strong German background people, and that we can take care of ourselves, and they look at this as a handout or welfare instead of an assistance to make sure that we can keep on going and taking care of ourselves. And they are implementing programs to explain this and expand the services in Victoria. Right now, they're only serving about 7 people a day. And there's much more than that in Victoria that are eligible for these services. But it's going to take some time and effort to get these people to realize that this isn't a handout per se. This is something that is very useful for them. And it'll also provide socialization for them because a lot of these people live alone. And so that was the only increase we saw that from last year that we thought would be appropriate to recommend to the council commission.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Roy.
Thank you for being the representative this evening.
We did have somebody here.
Does anyone have any other questions about any of the other agencies?
I think we're familiar with all of them, and we appreciate what you do.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Ellis County Historical Society.
Good evening, Commissioners, Mr. Haynes, Mr. Jeter. As it's probably well known, our purpose is to collect and preserve history from our county in all its many forms and subjects. Our other purpose is to educate the area and anyone who's interested by providing museum exhibits, educational programming, off-site presentations and things like that to keep everyone aware of where they came from to help us know where that we're going.
Lee?
We have been a...
Lee, would you do us a favor and introduce yourself?
Oh, I'm
for
sorry.
The press?
I'm
Thank
Lee
you.
Dobratz, the director of the Ellis County Historical Society. Butterbur. See, I just get so excited. I skip
I know
the
you
meaty
do.
part.
You came up and you just were full of information, but it does help them as well.
The Historical Society has been an organization for 46 years now. We've had a building for 44 of those years, and we've been collecting things and information ever since. I'm very happy to tell you that 2017 was a good year for us. We put on and participated in several events for our sesquicentennial year, and aren't you glad you don't have to say sesquicentennial anymore?
Yes.
You'll see in the papers that I provided for you that we have asked for the same amount of support as given by the county for the previous 2 years, $96,767. While we work to find the right fit for an annual fundraiser and continue to grow our membership and sponsorship base, the county's financial support is vital for us to continue our mission. During the last year, ECHS has continued community partnerships that began in 2016, and we continue to make new connections and forays. We continue to work with Hayes Community Theater to provide land for their haunted tours, which is their primary fundraiser. We serve as a challenge site for First Call for Help's Amazing Race. We continue to serve on the Oktoberfest committee and enhance the event with local history. And we've just internally designed a new website that is more friendly and reincorporates our museum store for items available online. Last year, for the first time, we began bringing in local artists and musicians for Art Walk, rather than relying on objects from our collection or not taking part. This has been a huge success. Our attendance on average has more than doubled. For spring of this year, we quadrupled attendance and had over 300 visitors in one evening. The most important aspect of Art Walk for us now is that we're part of the must-see downtown businesses. We had several patrons ask if they could see our history galleries while they were attending the Art Walk exhibition. We were unable to fulfill that at the time because we didn't have enough volunteers on that night. But we hope to open the whole museum to visitors this fall during Art Walk due to these requests. After many years of hosting children's events like Pioneer Day and events at Oktoberfest, we find that mostly due to scheduling, these activities no longer meet today's requirements for field trips. To continue to make information and events accessible to school-aged children, we are working with Fort Hays State University's history education majors to create lesson plans about local history that meet curriculum standards. We will be able to present teachers with activities and lessons that they may use either with or without a field trip to ECHS. This year, we have a unique opportunity to make research about our local Volga German population available to Russian Germans from around the world. We are working with the American Historical Society of Germans from Russia and the local Sunflower chapter of that organization to provide educational services during their international convention, which is held the last week of July at the Memorial Union on campus. We will provide local insight and access to research materials for the adults and a hands-on day of children's activities that focus on the history and culture of the Volga Germans. Children will be invited to learn the German language, some words anyway, folk tales, games, cooking, music, and many other topics. We hope to take programming from Youth Day this year and turn it into a day camp program next summer. We've been lucky to work with 2 interns this year so far from the university. First was from the English department. He did excellent research and writing for us. The current intern is interested in digital archiving. So in cooperation with the wonderful librarians at Forsyth Library on campus, he's learning about digitization, and I'm able to provide him better guidance about organization and metadata. I am pleased to offer real-world applications to complement these students' classroom learning. Within the 2 weeks during May, we had 2 authors visit to do thorough research about the earliest days of Hays City and about Alexander Ramsey, who was a Hays City sheriff and elected on November 4th, 1873. Both authors are preparing to write works of historical fiction. We were very excited to have them, as we are any researcher, and brought out so many documents and research sources that they're going to have to come back again because they didn't have enough time. They were very pleased with their visits. Thank you for taking your time in reviewing the documents that I provided and in listening to me. What questions might you have?
I just want to make note of the fact that I think you're doing a great job, that you're really trying to up the game.
That means
they
a lot.
say.
Thank
so
you.
I appreciate that.
Everything you're doing good.
Thank you.
Excellent.
No
And
questions?
the exposure to the public, too.
We're trying. Well, thank you. Good evening.
Next, we'll call on row 3. They brought the whole office. That would be the Soil Conservation District. And I'm assuming Sandy and Mary will probably be the spokesman, but the rest of you can come up.
Why not? The gang's all here.
I know Mary and Sandy's wanting to introduce the other 3 anyway. No, they don't matter? No, okay.
I'm Mary Pfeiffer, chairperson for the Ellis County Conservation District. This is Sandy Scott, our district manager. We also have here some of our Board of Supervisors, Sarah Faunensteel, Alan Roth. Also a supervisor is Brett Schmidt and Tom Walters. Okay, so he's way in the back. And Tom is too. And Travis Groff serves as an associate board member. Landon Leiker is employed as the Conservation District Technician, and Dennis Doring is the NRCS Supervisory District Conservationist for the Hays Management Unit. And they are both here too. Across the state, 105 conservation districts, which is one in every county, provide local leadership by helping local people address local natural resource needs. The Conservation District is a primary local unit of government responsible for the conservation of soil, water, and related natural resources within the county boundaries. Conservation districts are a political subdivision of the state government charged with this vital role. It's hard to make dirt exciting, but it is one of the most important natural resources that we have. Just like fresh water, healthy soil is a limited resource. Most life on Earth depends on soil as a direct or indirect source of food, and it can take up to 500 years to form an inch of topsoil on the surface, which makes it even more important to conserve the soil that we have. The district's main purpose is to get conservation practices on the land. These conservation practices are a benefit to everyone with an impact on water quality improvement. In the information that we presented to you with our budget request, we listed the conservation programs administered by the district. District programs include the Ellis County Cost Share Program, which is part of our budget request. Other programs include the Terrace Enlargement Cost Share Program, the Ellis County Supplemental Cost Share Program, and the Windbreak Cost Share Program. State programs administered by the district include the State Water Resources Cost Share Program and the Non-Point Source Pollution Control Cost Share Program. We had 90 applications, and we were able to fund 45 contracts for approximately $90,000 with those local programs. The main practices funded were terrace rebuilds, waterways, seeding the waterways, windbreaks, and provided assistance in replacing failed septic systems. We have 2 federal programs administered through the Conservation Office, the Environmental Quality Incentive Program, or EQIP, and the Conservation Stewardship Program, or CSP, which are both multi-year contracts. The EQIP has 86 active EQIP contracts in Ellis County with an obligation of $2,023,561. At this time, we have 2 EQIP applications on file awaiting funding or approval totaling $23,795. With the 27 active CSP contracts, $2,066,428 will be paid out to Ellis County producers throughout the contract years. Presently, we have 2 CSP applications awaiting funding for $274,269. The good thing is this is money coming into the county and for the most part is spent locally, putting conservation on the land and updating management practices and equipment. All applications for cost share assistance are ranked based on getting the most bang for the dollar. The ranking criteria for cropland is based on soil type, slopes, proximity to permanent or intermittent streams, and the best management practice. Rangeland ranking criteria is based on similar factors and the amount of rest for the pastures. The county benefits through the conservation practices installed with sediment control, water quality, benefits to wildlife, and sustainability. Besides the benefits to the farmer, his land and farming operation keeps the soil sediment, leaving the field to a minimum, and it also benefits county roads and ditches. Along with the cost share program available to landowners and tenants, the Conservation District participates in youth education programs. Kids in Ag Day, Earth Water Festivals, and Wacky Day provides conservation education to approximately 1,000 students in Ellis County and neighboring counties. The district also sponsors scholarships to the No-Till on the Plains Winter Conference, Range Youth Camp, and Ag in the Classroom. The district also co-sponsored the Hayes High Soil Judging Team to participate at the National Soil Judging Competition. The district also distributes a newsletter to about 1,800 farmers and ranchers twice a year. The Conservation District receives the maximum amount for the state matching funds based on the amount of funding received through the county. This is a huge benefit to the operation of the Conservation District. The Conservation District looks forward to working with the local farmers and ranchers in the years to come. And along with this, the Board of Supervisors and staff of the Ellis County Conservation District would like to thank the county commissioners for their interest in the activities of the district. Our total fiscal year 2018 budget request is the same as last year. That should be 2019. Okay. Our total fiscal year 2019 budget request is the same as last year of $75,125. $10,750 for the Ellis County Cost Share Program, and $64,375 for district operations. Again, thank you for your consideration, and do you have any questions?
I don't, Mary or Sandy, thank you both for coming.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing the crowd.
They probably won't be here next month, so.
We sure like seeing them all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to access transportation.
Good evening, Commissioners, and
Evening.
my name is Wade Cruz. I'm the Transportation Manager for DSNWK and Access. This year, we are asking for the same amount we've always asked for in the past, for $60,000 to help support the funds that needed to provide our local citizens in Ellis County with the needs of transportation to and from their doctor's appointments, shopping, whatever the case may be. We did see a cut in our funding from KDOT this year. And that is why you see Phil asked me a question via email why we showed a negative of $46,000. We lost roughly over $90,000 from the state of Kansas for local funding from them. We are planning on raising our rates. Right now, we charge $1.50 per one-way ride in the city of Hayes and $3 for anywhere from the county on a one-way. We are raising those rates come October the 1st to $2 a ride for the inside the city and $4 for county rides to help make up some of those funds that we lost for this upcoming year. I will note that we did clear a big milestone for us at Access here last December. We provided on our Safe Ride program, we clicked over 200,000 rides on Safe Ride. And right now it's sitting over 220,000 rides.
Wow.
So we have provided a lot of rides for them. And last year in the fiscal year of 2017, we provided just under 64,000 rides for Ellis County clientele inside the city and then the county.
Wow.
So we run 11 buses during our shifts. We don't run total 11 at one time. We normally have 4 or 5 running at one time during the day. So this year we're requesting the same amount of money we did in the past, which is $60,000. And we'd like to thank the commissioners of all their work that they do for us in providing us those funds each year to help us maintain our statute within the county. So we appreciated we could get the same amount again this year. So I don't have any more. Do you guys have any questions?
You guys are doing a good job. See your buses running all the time, so.
Thank you.
Ladies?
Yeah, you do get some offset funds from personal donations for Safe Ride, yes?
Yes,
Okay.
we do.
Does
We're in
it end
partnership
up?
with the Partnership for Safer Community with the Fort Hays State University.
Okay.
And we're also planning, we're working with the Strategic Doing Planning Committee, which I think you've all seen me there. We're working on something still in the planning stages to make Ellis County a better transportation area. So we're hoping that sometime in the near future we could do something better for the Ellis County. But it's still in the planning stages right now.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Anything
Do the
else, ladies?
donations for Safe Ride pay for the Safe Ride?
Yes, they pay a majority of that. So Safe Ride is different than what Ellis County pays for, so.
So, yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. I just wanted to make sure that that was
Sure,
being covered.
no, that's covered by partnership, so,
Okay, good. All right.
all righty.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys have a good evening.
Do. Casa of the High Plains.
I have to lower that. Hey, well, hello, I'm Lindsay Christenberry. I'm the Executive Director for Casa of the High Plains. And we would like to ask for $9,000, which is the same that we had asked for last year. CASA stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates, and we have been in the community for about 29 years now. And what we do is we help children that have been abused and neglected that are going through the court system to find safe, permanent homes. And so we typically have about 15 volunteers within our agency at one time. Sometimes it's a little lower, but that's what we typically have. And what happens is when a volunteer comes to us, we will they go through 30 hours of pre-service training before they become a CASA volunteer. They go through a very extensive background check before we ever place them on a case. And then they have to go through 12 hours of continuing education every year after to remain a volunteer. This year, we are focusing on training such as sex trafficking, cyberbullying, drug abuse, and mental health crises, because this is what we are seeing with the children that we're serving. The sex trafficking, we had a situation at the very beginning of the year when one of our children, we believe they were attempting to sex traffic him. And our CASA volunteer is the one that picked up on this. She noticed messages coming in on his Facebook page that she felt were very concerning. So we let, it was over the holiday season, but we let the courts know, we let St. Francis know, which are the social workers, and then the community that he was placed in. We also let the police in that community know, and they were able to intercept this before it went too far. But this child had been told that they were going to be mailing him airline tickets to get him to New York, and it was a very scary situation. But because he had a CASA volunteer that paid very close attention to what he was doing online, we were able to catch that before anything happened to him. And so, and the sex trafficking is becoming a bigger issue, as well as the cyberbullying and the drug abuse. And so this year we are making a very concentrated effort on not only training our volunteers on this, but also making sure that staff are trained as well, so we can help them. and then as well as adverse childhood experiences, which are their ACE scores. And I don't know how familiar you are with that, but in Hayes, our children actually have pretty high ACE scores. We're up there around with the bigger cities. And so every time a child gets moved from one foster home to another foster home, that's another traumatic experience, which can increase their ACE scores. So trying to make sure that we're not keeping these kids in foster homes and allowing them to be bounced from home to home is very important. And typically when a child has a CASA volunteer, they're usually in the system for about a year, which is about 8 months less than their peers that are in the system. And so that's a really great reason to have a CASA on their case. So the CASA volunteer, the judge will place a CASA on the case when they feel that for whatever reason this case needs a little bit more attention. And CASAs, we only serve 1 or 2 families at a time, each CASA volunteer, where a social worker may serve anywhere from 30 to 60 children. And so we can really give each child the attention that they need. And so we go and we talk to the child, their biological parents, their foster parents, their teachers, their doctors, sometimes their coaches, their therapist, any professional that knows anything about this child. We talk to them. And we get their viewpoint on what happened and what is continuing to happen with this child. So we get a really good picture of what's going on. And then we also get to know the child very well. And so we make court reports and we tell the judge what our recommendation is for this child, whether we think they need to continue to stay in foster care, or maybe it's time for them to go home, or maybe it's time to be put up for adoption. But along with our recommendations, we also tell the judge specifically what the child wants. And sometimes that's different than what we think's in their best interest, but we are there to be a voice for the child. And so it's really important that the judge knows whether the child wants to go home. Maybe the parents aren't ready to take that child home yet, but if the child really wants to go home, sometimes the judge will allow the parents a little bit more time. And so that's important that the judge knows that. And if the child doesn't want to go home, there's usually a reason that that child is not wanting to go home. And so we can dig a little bit more and look a little deeper and find out what really happened while they were there. And that information really helps the judge to make a good decision in regards to each child. So that's what we do, as well as recommendations and where the child should live. We also let the judges know whether we think maybe the kid is not getting enough attention at school or enough services in school. So we might recommend that the judge order that more services be provided. Or sometimes we might notice they're having troubles reading, and so we might ask for that. And one of our things that we do for the teenagers is if maybe it's time for driver's ed, and we might recommend that the judge allow the child to go through driver's ed, because we really feel like just because they're in foster care does not mean they should not be having the same experiences that children not in foster care receive. And so we really advocate that they get to have the same privileges and rights as any other child. So one thing that's newer that we've been doing is children 14 to 18 years of age, we give them a life skills assessment. And this tells us whether they know how to write a resume, do they know how to apply for a job, do they know how to apply for colleges, just anything that gets them ready for being an adult. Once they complete that, then we can help them find the services they need to make sure that when they leave the foster care system, that they have the skill set they need. And thanks to the Dane G. Hanston Foundation, we actually hired a transitional age youth specialist in March that's going to be helping our volunteers that work with that age group to really make sure they have all the resources they need, and those volunteers will get even additional training just to work with that age group, because we really don't want them leaving the foster care system and being homeless or not knowing how to get a job, and that happens pretty regularly. And so we really want to make sure that they're prepared and that they're going to be good citizens when they leave foster care, if they're aging out. Like I said, we usually serve 1 to 2 family groups at a time. In addition to providing them services through the court, we also provide them clothing if they need clothing. We provide them toys or hygiene products. The St. Francis can get a hold of us if they need diapers, which they do sometimes, or other items, and we provide those also. If for some reason St. Francis can't provide it, we provide it for them. And so that's another service we offer to the children and their parents. And that's not necessarily just CASA children. We do that anytime that they contact us needing additional items for their foster youth. So a CASA stays on the case until the case closes. We usually ask all of our CASA volunteers to agree to stay at least 1 year, and that's the length of time that we hope that case has closed by, is a year. And so according to National CASA, when a child with a CASA volunteer is more likely to get a safe permanent home, they're less likely to re-enter the foster care system compared to their peers. They spend less time in foster care on average. I told you before, it's about 8 months less time. They do better in school also. And so there's a lot of perks for having a CASA volunteer on these cases. We have an agreement with the 23rd Judicial District to provide these services to these children. So that means we serve Ellis, Brooks, Trigo, and Gove. Most of our funding comes from grants or donations, such as the Heartland Community Foundation, Dangy Hansen, United Way, City of Hayes, and you guys. So we appreciate that. And then Trigo County and Rooks County also provide a small supplement to us. The majority of the cases we serve, though, are from Ellis County. There's usually about 100 cases going through the system at a time. And I believe last year, in 2017, we served 25 total children. And from January to June of this year, we've already served 26 children. And so the numbers are always increasing. We're always looking for more volunteers. And your funding helps us to do it. It helps not only recruit the volunteers, but also help train them, train ourselves, and just make sure that we're able to provide materials to these kids as needed. Any questions?
Thanks for looking out for our little ones.
Yeah, doing a good job, serving a lot of people.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Thank you for your report. Humane Society of the High Plains, dogs and cats, and anything else that's running loose in the county.
I'm Betty Hansen. I'm the manager at the Humane Society of the High Plains, and this is my assistant manager, Jessica Freed. Thank you for having us tonight. We, again, will be requesting the same amount as we did last year. That's $4,500. The funding that you give us covers the cost of animals coming in from the county, either brought by the Ellis County Sheriff or just individual citizens. This covers their vaccinations, the general boarding, because we are required to keep them a certain amount of days by the state before we can do anything with them, general care, and sometimes severe veterinary care. In 2017, we had 63 dogs, 38 cats and kittens, and 1 domestic rabbit come from Ellis County.
Wow.
So if you add that up at a total of $50 per animal, that's about $100. And also, this does not include animals that come directly from the city of Ellis or Victoria. This is just the county. They handle their own, and then if they cannot find homes for them, that's when they bring them in and they do pay their own. So we appreciate you considering us for the coming year, and have any questions?
Are you hiding puppies?
She's hiding one big baby girl.
One big baby girl.
So, and actually, just to give you a little something that happened recently from Ellis County, we had a Great Pyrenees, 125 pounds of Great Pyrenees come in fully pregnant.
Oh, my.
She was with us a couple of days and started to birth. She was unable to birth on her own, rushed to the vet in high labor, and had to have a C-section. And just when I say extreme vet care, that's what I'm talking about. We had a nice $1,000 bill to deliver 9 puppies. And they were all adopted, and she was also adopted. So,
wow.
I mean, things like that do happen. A lot of times when people's animals get pregnant, they'll just dump them, and hopefully somebody will find them. Sometimes we find a box of puppies in a ditch, that type of thing. So a lot of times $50 doesn't even cover the boarding and the vaccinations and the such that we give for one dog. So
I would say even since the beginning of this year, we've had at least 4 pregnant
yeah, brought to us.
Animals come in, and we've been adopting out litters.
Seeing a little bit more of that. So, but we've been very lucky. You know, our adoption rate is over 95%.
Yes.
And
That's
that's
excellent.
really unusual.
I got one from you.
Yeah. We got many more.
No.
Thank you for your consideration.
Yes.
Thank you for being
Thank you
here.
for coming.
And best wishes.
Ellis Alliance.
Hot time to be pregnant. Thanks. For anybody.
Hello, I'm Dina Pat-T with the Ellis Alliance. I'm the director over there. You guys have helped us since our inception about 11 years ago, and we appreciate that. We take care of several groups there in town. We take care of the foundation, the Chamber, Economic Development, Travel and Tourism, and the Chrysler Museum. Everybody is all individual groups. They're all governed by their own boards. We just we're the house that they live in. And I provide services for everybody. It's an easy way to take care of several groups with the least amount of money possible. We're asking again for the same amount that we've gotten in the past few years, about $48.35, and that just goes to help keep everything rolling at the office. So, any questions?
You got a lot of things going on in Ellis.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
I like them little updates we get. You got a lot
Good.
going on over there.
Good.
Hoppin' community.
Yeah, things are very busy. Trying to do a few new things, and this past weekend I was a part, not necessarily through the Alliance, more so through the City Council, but the Alliance was a part of the Community Block Party, just a free event that we held, fed over 300 or right at 300 people, and it was just a really good time with a bunch of Ellis neighbors in the park. So.
Nice. Sunday's Fried Chicken Sunday in Ellis.
Yes, Sunday is Fried Chicken Sunday.
All right.
Anything?
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for the updates we get.
Thank you.
I don't know how you juggle all the balls in the air that you do.
Hayes Arts Council, Brenda Mater.
Good afternoon. I am Brenda Mater, Director of the Hayes Arts Council, and I thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today and to request funds in the same amount that you allocated us last year, $3,385. Figure that's why we're at the end of the line. The numbers just kept working down and down. But we are indeed so grateful for it and really appreciate the support. And as such, I hope you're able to see in the packet that we proudly acknowledge that support when the opportunities are there to do so. Our Facebook page, our website, Smoky Hill and 5-state catalogs, even some of the arts education materials. We make sure that we do let people know that we are proud beneficiaries of county funds and that you believe in the services that we provide. We do believe that collaboration is key. Partnerships are imperative for making lasting impressions in a community. The Hayes Arts Council is in its 51st year, and I am in my 28th year as its director. We contribute in so many different ways, not only just on our standalone events in the community, but space, goods, services, resources, donations for special fundraisers, whether that's different entities at Fort Hays State University, from the art programs to the athletic fundraisers, the Hayes Public Library, Hayes Community Theater, the Hayes Symphony Orchestra, not to mention the individual standalone, both nonprofit and for-profit retail entities and otherwise that we are able to elevate and illuminate through things like our 4 annual art walks, spring, summer, fall, and winter. And in fact, this next Friday will be the summer art walk with a great slate of activities and events planned again for the community at large. And of course, these events, like much that we do, having no cost, maybe a few other ones having very minimal, but these are wonderful community events. In fact, for the spring art walk, we used someone with a clicker at the door all evening long, and we click off every man, woman, and child. And it was well over 1,100, between 11 and 1,200 clicks is what we put on the clickers for the Spring Art Walk, and we're looking forward to a really great night again this next Friday. We know that those programs are really valuable, and of course, when you add to those numbers the amount of individuals in our community that we're able to serve in all the public and private schools in Ellis County, that really elevates those numbers. And there's no one that it's more important for us to be serving than the young people of our community, who will be the next ones in the positions that we're all here representing today. And we know that having a wonderful quality of life for them, it makes it a little more likely that they'll stay, and makes it a little more likely that they will be excited, engaged citizens about this community that I and the Hayes Arts Council are so proud to be part of. We kicked off our 50th anniversary year by dedicating the historic mural on the side of the Fox, and we brought it to a conclusion with the Quiet America film and community gift at Beach Schmidt last fall, celebrating the 150-year anniversary, the proud sesquicentennial that we all got to be a great part of. Again, arts education, engagement, entertainment is really important to bring to all the citizens, and we will continue to do that in the ways that you saw in the numbers, participation numbers in different events that I attempted to highlight in the packet that you received. Although expenses keep going up, and we don't want to put more of a burden on what we know are tight city and county government funding entities, as well as, of course, the schools. So we work really diligently to continue to elevate the membership support of the Hayes Arts Council, sponsorship for different projects so that people can sort of adopt those, and working with various entities in the community who recognize the value, as do you, of things that we are able to bring the community. So again, I thank you for your support. Hope you can come join us for some great fun and community engagement this Friday night, and lots more wonderful things that we're working on for both the young people up to the not so young people across our community in a variety of ways. And again, thank you for allowing us to be part of your consideration and this great community for so long. So any questions from anyone?
Thanks for being here. You must not be feeling well. You're really slow.
No, that's what I do when I've got a job to do. It's like whatever the
You're
job
doing a good
takes. You
job.
know
You're
about
doing
that, Barb. Whatever.
Whatever you got to do.
No,
I'm just giving you a hard time.
That's right. That's right. I'll save the excitement for Friday. I got to have something to work up to.
Okay.
So
Thanks
you
for
all
being
so
here.
very much.
Thank you. Ellis Junior Free Fair, young man in the back corner.
Usually Dean picks on you all when you sit in the very way back.
I know, I was thinking about it.
Got away with it.
Late, so I was here late.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, DJ.
Good evening. I'm DJ Fisher. I'm the president of the Ellis Junior Free Fair in Ellis. I want to thank you for the opportunity to come and talk to you again tonight. We are still in the process of finishing our horse arena that we started on last year to try to get the roping part of it done, so we can maybe try to have some roping events throughout the year to try to raise some more money for us besides just the week of the fair. Still need bleachers and electricity and poles put up and this and that, and we're hoping to get that done yet before the end of July. So the rest of the money we used, we had to update our septic system at the fairgrounds. They wouldn't let us put a septic back in. We had to put holding tanks in because of the flood zone and everything we're in over there. So just the 2 concrete tanks for $4,300 we had to spend on that. The rest of the donations and labor was donated by the rest of the community, so that helped out. And we're finding out that you leave a faucet on or something, if the kids are in there, it doesn't take long to fill up 4,000 gallons of water. So we have to have that sucked out every time, which is a cost of about $250 to $300 each time we have to have that sucked out. So we're working through to try to get that figured out. The grounds are still being used by the rec, auctions, everything possible that the community uses for soccer and all the games for the kids. So we're asking for $5,000 again, and just to help with the upkeep of the bathrooms and the buildings and paint and roofs and everything else. So you'll find an expense sheet on the back side, and thanks for your time. Any questions?
I don't have anything right now.
Thanks, so DJ. Keep
All right.
up the good work over there.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
And Mr. Chairman, I will note that there is one agency that was not here this evening. That is the Western Kansas Child Advocacy Center. They will be appearing next Monday night.
Okay.
So that will be your final presentation.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to Mr. Darren Myers' resolution on fireworks.
Good evening, Commission. Darren Myers, Director of Fire and Emergency Management. As we discussed last week, the possibility of allowing fireworks in the unincorporated areas of Ellis County. It was your intent to form the resolution so that way it can be updated this year to allow fireworks in the unincorporated areas of Ellis County on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And with that, I believe you will need a motion to approve the resolution with the temporary lifting of that resolution for those certain days and times.
Oh, this does match the City of Hayes.
I move that we approve resolution 2018-5, which concerns using the fireworks in Ellis County from July 2nd through the 5th.
I'll second that.
Yes, sir, Darren.
2nd to the 4th.
2nd to 4th, that's what I was going to
4th,
correct her on
not the
too.
5th, okay. Yeah, I didn't read it right, 2nd to the 4th. Okay?
Motion stands amended to the 4th.
Yeah.
And we have
Seconded,
a second.
yeah.
Any further discussion, ladies? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0, Donna.
And you do have a copy of that resolution, correct?
It's right here.
It's taken care of.
Good deal.
Next, Darren, you're going to talk about good old radios.
So as we have an ongoing concern with communications with different mutual aid departments surrounding fire departments, EMS, all different areas, law enforcement, and then with the help of Commissioner Hazelhorst living in the Gorham Fire, or not living, but having property within the Gorham Fire District, we had the idea, or Commissioner Hazelhorst had the idea of potentially giving some of our old radios that we were going to sell to MRS, Mobile Radio Service out of Great Bend, give the Gorham Fire District enough radios to be able to outfit their fire trucks with the 800 radio system that the state operates, as well as a couple portables, so that way we can communicate with them during different events that we unfortunately have to work together on those larger events in the county. With that estimated price for what the Gorham Fire Department requested was 4 mobile radios and 2 portable radios for a total, I guess, loss that we would have sold them for of $1,200. And some may ask why we would just give the Gorham Fire District those radios, and the specific reason that we're recommended doing so is because the Gorham Fire District does protect about 30-some square miles in the eastern part of the county. So that is a good justification for doing so.
Money well spent.
It's not just as easy as handing them the radios and then turning them on and being able to use them. There is a process that has to go from getting state IDs, programming, getting their mutual aid zones and partners to be able to give them their talk group or their radio channel. So if the commission likes or wishes us to do this, I'll continue to working with Glenn over there, the fire chief, and making sure that they get those operational.
Yes, I do. Sounds like a
I can
good
tell you
plan.
After whatever day I was supposed to meet with you Tuesday night when we had the fire, that the Gorham Fire Department is very thankful.
I appreciate you stepping out and helping them.
Someone told me
the radios.
when we were out on the fire that he said he was very thankful you're working with him. You're doing a great job with him. So.
Okay.
I think this is
Thank you.
wonderful.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Jeter, County Councilor.
County Councilor Bill Jeter, I do not have a report tonight. Thank you.
I was sneaking out again.
Like you have another meeting to go to tonight, huh? No. Oh, you don't have? Oh, heck, we can stay here all evening.
Yep.
County Administrator report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. County Administrator Philip Smith Haynes. 2 quick items. One, I wanted to just update the commission, assure you that we are, staff is working on the Northwest Business Corridor project. I did sign an agreement on Friday with folks in Topeka to represent us in front of KDOT. They have meetings set up with the folks from the governor's office who were out here to visit. So we're closing that loop. We have identified a potential federal grant source that Mr. Ring and his staff and I will be working on. And we've also been in discussions with the city of Hayes about potential city participation if that were to be designated as official truck route. So continuing to work on that project. The other item that I wanted to bring up and get some commission feedback, doesn't have to be tonight, but consideration of whether the commission would like to do a work session this summer. July is a 5-Monday month. The last couple of summers we have done a off-site work session on the 5th Monday, and so if you wanted to review where we are on goals and such on July 30th, staff would be happy to set that up. So that's all I have.
What was that date, Phil?
July 30th. July 30th.
I'll have to find out.
Yeah, I may not be here either.
I don't think we come back till the 30th, I think. I'll let you know. Have to ask the
The
chief.
elusive.
Yeah.
Elusive.
I'm gonna go salmon
Commissioner
fishing.
Dean.
County Commission reports. Marcy?
Last week, I did the radio show on Tuesday, had a strategic doing committee meeting. I attended the KAC cybersecurity webinar. I also had a Workforce One quarterly meeting in Great Bend. I would like to report from there, 45% of adults in Ellis County have either a technical certificate or a college degree. 29% of the high school graduates in Area 1 are ready for college or technical school. Also, on May 1st, Area 1, which consists of 62 counties, had 7,044 job openings. This explains why it is very hard to find employees.
Thank you, Marcy. Barb?
I have a corrections board meeting this week, but I wanted to thank Hayes City Commissioner Chris Dinkle, who's still in our midst, for his service to the city of Hayes, and wish him happy trails as he moves on to adding another shark to the waters and becoming an attorney at Columbia, and I wish him all the best. And that's it.
Thank you for coming, Chris. I met with Gary Haas. We looked over specs on the new truck that he's potentially wanting to build for the weed department. I was supposed to meet with Darren Meyer in the Ellis County Fire Department, but we kind of had a fire at our farm, so I was a little tied up at the time. But we will meet again.
I think
Darren.
he understood.
He did. He was very
Somehow
understanding.
I think he would get that.
And he was very understanding. And we also met with the representatives from the governor's office on the tour, Phil and Kurt and Bill. That was it, right? Yeah, that was it. Had a very good tour. I don't know, 3 hours or 4 or whatever it was, 4 hours, maybe longer. Heck, I don't know. It's a long time, but they're very nice. They came out and got a lot of things discussed, and timing, I think, was perfect on a few of the situations. When he was out on that one road as a oversized load come over the hill, I think the timing was everything. So I think it worked out well to our advantage. So we're looking forward to see what the future brings. That is all, and I do believe we have one executive session. Do one of you have the paper? Marcy does.
I move the commission recess into executive session along with Philip Smith-Haynes and Bill Jeter to discuss individual employees' rate of pay and personnel evaluation pursuant to the Open Meetings Act exception for personnel matters of non-elected personnel, KSA 75-4319B1, for 30 minutes, with the open session to resume in this room at 5:42.
No.
or 642.
642.
642.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say
That's
aye.
52.
Motion carries 3-0.